€7 billion in US banks belonging to the people of Afghanistan. No emergency meetings, no statements from the High Representatives, no demands for international law to be upheld, no comment even on this colonial act of banditry. Biden's theft will mean millions of Afghans suffering and dying for a crime that had nothing to do with them. It makes me sick. Shame on the US for its crimes against humanity, and shame on the EU for its complicity and silence.
If you see me in the streets, better holler at me. Seeking for a beat, throw them dollars at me. I don't like defeat, take that away from me. You tryna be like me, you couldn't handle my story. But we gon' let you know, we gon' let you know. We gon' let you know, we gon' let you know.
2 weeks ago, the Parliament had its big Afghan Women's Day, focusing on the denial of access to education and work, and you know, it was grand to keep the focus on, and maybe it made us.
Ladies and gentlemen, how you guys doing, man? It's your boy Mr. J. Yo, thank you for tuning in and welcome back to yet another episode of Mr. J's Reaction. Yo, if this is your first time coming through, man, my name is Jay. I'm a motherlandian. I live out in the diaspora, and I've been dropping vlogs recently talking about the plight, the evilness, the plight of my people in my continent, Africa, and the struggle against BRICS and the West and its allies. So this is one of those videos. Before we get started, if you're not done it, please don't forget to give us that thumbs up and leave a comment, and it will cost you $0 to be a member of my family. I will be happy to hear from you. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you know, the more I keep putting out vlogs, the more people keep hitting me up with some information that we should talk about. And I dropped a vlog recently, which actually you people made it get to 30k views. I appreciate that. It's all love. And I was reacting to the EU Commission President, man, Ursula von der Leyen, the lady who is at the helm of everything in Europe. And it turns out that a whole lot of you people watched it, and people started reaching out to me like, yo, Mr. J, the hypocrisy of the West, America and its allies, man, is crazy. So they sent me this lady, man. She's from Ireland, man. Big up to my people in Ireland, man. It's all love. I didn't know that through YouTube, man, I would reach out there. But somebody sent me out this politician in Ireland. She goes by the name Clare Daly, man, Dublin, man. Yo, she is, man, she has been ripping out America, the crazy, the double standardness of everything with America and its allies, Europe. Now, when I say that Europe is actually US's balls carrier, like anything the US says, Europe does, and there's nothing that Europe does without the authorization of the White House of America. So these are one of this videos, man. We gonna react about it, man. She was coming at the USA and its allies regarding women in Afghanistan. Let me not talk too much, man. Let's back it up and get started.
The Parliament had its big Afghan Women's Day, focusing on the denial of access to education and work.
Pause. It's actually the intervention in plenary. Okay, this was February 14, 2022. Okay, and I think she's coming at the whole Afghan Women's Day, man. People are suffering around the world, man.
Focusing on the denial of access to education and work, and you know, it was grand to keep the focus on, and maybe it made us feel a bit better. But you know, you can't go to work or school if you're starving or if you're dead. And against the backdrop of the cataclysmic collapse of the Afghan economy.
Pause. Ladies and gentlemen, the USA spent 20 years in Afghanistan and they didn't do nothing. Lives were lost. People were killed. The US spent money, and they were kicked out like, you know, like beggars, man, like thieves on somebody's property. So she's coming at that angle, and it's absolutely true that you cannot go to school if you're hungry. Coming from Africa, man, I know firsthand. I mean, I grew up in the middle class, but I knew of people who were starving when we were going to school. This is not no joke. So you cannot be happy, you cannot go to school if you're hungry or if you're dead, which is what she's trying to say. Let's go back.
School if you're starving or if you're dead. And against the backdrop of the cataclysmic collapse of the Afghan economy in a bitterly cold winter, where the World Food Programme is predicting that 1 million children will die of starvation.
That's too much, man. 1 million children? It's crazy. See, all these organizations, man, they have this data, but it looks like America and her allies vehemently deny. It's like they do it out of, I don't know if it's out of spite or what. 1 million children dying every month in a year, man. That's 12 million. That's the whole future generation of that beautiful country. It's crazy. Let's go back, man. And you can sense from her voice, man, she's not having that.
Million children will die of starvation in 2 months. Against that backdrop, the US, the world's most powerful economy, appropriates in broad daylight the resources of this, the world's poorest country, and we say nothing.
That's what has been happening. The US with her allies, man, they have been appropriating resources around the world. And nobody's saying anything, because if you dare stand up to the US, I'm telling you, there's no country in Europe that can stand up to the US. It seems like after the Second World War, man, you know, the Second World War took every country's economy, put it on down to the rubbish. I'm talking about Britain, France, Italy, Germany, even China. You feel me? But the US somehow escaped that. Now you would argue that it's because they were practicing the policy of isolation, and then they just came in and then they helped Europe. But right after that, man, the US took over everything. They dollarized the global economy, and then they used this as a weapon, man, to just, you know, kill economies around the world, those who try to challenge the US. But let's go back, man.
The world's poorest country, and we say nothing. 7 billion euros in US banks belonging to the people of Afghanistan. No emergency meetings, no statements from the high representatives.
7 billion US dollars. Now why are you freezing these people's account? That's what the US does. Recently, they just gave out 6 billion to Iran, and then there was a swap with prisoners. I think that happened today, a couple of hours ago. Why would you do that to an economy? Why would you freeze their money? This is money that they could use to feed these children, build schools, health centers, but you freeze it. And nobody seems to be talking. Nobody in Europe. You feel me? This is dangerous.
Of Afghanistan. No emergency meetings, no statements from the high representatives, no demands for international law to be upheld, no comment even on this colonial act of banditry.
I like this woman, man. I like this woman. Is she still in politics, man? Ireland, my Irish people, I like this woman, man. She calls it as it is. You feel me? She calls it as it is. Colonial banditry. A whole lot of countries around the world doing this. France is doing this to African countries, and they are kicking them out. She is calling it as it is. This is bravery right here.
Biden's theft will mean millions of Afghans suffering and dying for a crime that had nothing to do with them. It makes me sick. Shame on the US for its crimes against humanity.
Have you ever thought about the US, you know, being held accountable for the mess that they do around the globe? Have you ever thought about that? Crimes against humanity. They have been doing it for decades and nobody's saying anything. But she's calling them out. You feel me? And as you calling them out, you need to call out her colonies, her allies in Europe. And nobody's doing anything actually.
Nothing to do with them. It makes me sick. Shame on the US for its crimes against humanity, and shame on the EU for its complicity and silence.
The EU is complicit, ladies and gentlemen. If you know that something is going on that is not good, and you sit quiet, you are an accomplice, man. I like this lady, man. We are going to talk about more of her takes down on the US and the allies. And think about somebody speaking out of Europe. They know firsthand. But see, politicians is like, you people have short memories, man. It's like people get into politics, especially those in the Western world, and they start choosing sides, and nobody gets the guts. Nobody has the guts to stand up and speak like, you know, she just did. Man, look, let me tell you something. The earlier bricks spreads like a wildfire, which is already doing, the better for the globe. You feel me? The de-dollarization of the international economy, the globe economy, is good, because nobody will have that right to freeze people's money and let people die and starve. But that's my time. Big up to the fan who came through me. Yo, I will talk about this politician, man. I like her style already. No nonsensical. Let me know more about her. You feel me? That's my time, man. Please don't forget to give us a like, thumbs up, man, and share. And please do be part of the family. You know what I mean? I'm out of here. J out.
Creation, reaction, God. Big up TRB family. Mr. J, I see you. I know some artists don't do this. God bless you and your families.